Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday, everybody. I'm actually going to host today. My name is Shannon Burge. I am one of the CDBG program specialists here at HCD, and I'm going to let everybody else kind of introduce themselves. Just go off mute real quick.
I'll go first. Susan Holt, CDBG Program Manager.
Crystal White, CDBG Specialist, Federal Housing Specialist.
Hey everyone, Mike Phillips, Federal Program Specialist as well.
Hey everyone, Jeannie Lee, CDBG Specialist.
And I think Tanner might be having some mic issues, so Tanner Wolverton is also online today. He's one of our other program specialists. So we're going to get started on our office hours. There's a lot of good stuff today, so pay close attention. So just as a reminder of how to ask a question, click the Q&A chat bubble to submit a question to the team. You may ask your questions anonymously, but if you want your name, organization, or region associated with your question, you'll need to type that in to your name box. The team will read questions out loud throughout the presentation and will provide answers if possible. And all questions will be saved and recorded as part of the public record. So just as a quick reminder, the required recorded live and the pre-recorded webinars can be found on the CDBG Workshops and Trainings YouTube channel. So everything is posted. As another quick reminder, application opens on Tuesday, October 29th, 2024 at 9 a.m. Pacific or PSD. So did you know that 2 CFR 200 has been amended and the changes impact all of our grantees? Two of the changes include that single audit threshold was now increased to 1 million from the 750,000. There is also some new certification language, and we also did provide a link to the new all that new information for 2 CFR 200. So with this change, it means that that financial report form that it needs to be part of all of your financial reports. It's going to include this new certification language that needs to be in there. So an amended financial report form will be provided as soon as we can. As of 10/1/24, grantees are required to use the amended form with the new certification language. We will be sending this out, I believe, with the newsletter, if I'm not mistaken. And please reach out to your rep with any questions you may have. So what's new? Again, the use of Appendix 6-3, which is that CDBG financial reporting form, is now required for all financial reports, even when the reimbursement is not being requested, meaning even for a zero reimbursement, it still needs to be required. Additionally, HUD has finally released its new LMI SD map application information. I know we've been waiting for that, so that's some pretty good news. And again, that all webinars, application questions, and a new sources and usage chart and NOFA FAQ have been uploaded to the files tab of the solicitation page. Just to kind of emphasize on that new sources and usage chart, the importance of this new one is that it is to be able to support multiple sub-applications. So please make sure that you check this out and reach out to us if you have any questions between now and when the application opens. And I'm going to pass this over to Jeannie to talk about the planning application.
Hey everyone. So I know we've had a lot of questions come up lately regarding doing bid ready plans and specs. We have come up with a policy for these types of applications. We are currently making edits to our GMM Chapter 2 to incorporate these changes, or clarification, I should say. But wanted to release this so for those who are planning to apply for this type of application in our 2024 application cycle. So applications for bid ready plans and specs are eligible under this NOFA. In the sub application, there is a option for matrix code 20A, planning related to another activity. you will have a drop down for a secondary matrix code, which you will need to select the ultimate plan for national objective and matrix code for your bid ready plans and specs. So for instance, if you want to do bid ready plans and specs for a senior center, you would first choose 20A, planning related to another activity, and then 03A for senior center. Prior to applying for a planning related to another bid ready plans and specs for a planning, you must reach out to CDBG to demonstrate activity feasibility and to obtain our written approval. Something to keep in mind for this type of activity is that if you are awarded this application, you are committing to meeting a national objective or the national objective within 6 years of your first drawdown, and continued quarterly reporting until the national objective is met. So even if your contract is complete and done, you will still need to do quarterly reporting until you have delivered on those plans and specs. We have other details related to this, so please email the CDBG inbox if you have additional questions and need guidance. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Jeannie. Here, another thing that we wanted to talk about was the consolidated plan. So right now, HCD is in the middle of creating a new 5-year federal consolidated plan, something that we like to call the CON plan for fiscal year 25 through 29. And we really would appreciate your feedback on California's housing, homelessness, and community development challenges, barriers, and the needs. We will also make sure that we include this with the newsletter as well. There's a link here for distributing to your communities and residents. If you're a part of local government, that survey link. The surveys will be available through November 10th of 2024. And like I said, we will make sure that you guys get these links as part of the newsletter. But we definitely want to make sure we get your opinion, because it's your opinion that helps make all of our programs better.
Thanks, Shannon. So first, I just want to provide everyone an update for the CDBG-CV amendments. For the amendments for requests for additional funds and the time extension only. These are going to be routed to you for signature in the coming weeks, the vast majority of them. Some of them have already been signed, but the vast majority are going to be coming in like the next 2 or 3 weeks. So if your current award end date is on October 31st, please be sure to monitor your inbox and execute the amendment as soon as possible. Our contracts team advised that they are processing a very high volume of amendments right now, and we just want to make sure that these get executed or countersigned by HCD before the contract end date of 10/31/2024. And if you have any questions about your amendment, where it is in the process or anything like that, you can go ahead and just email me, michael.phillips@hcd.ca.gov. All right, thanks everyone.
Thanks, Mike. So now we're going to go through the questions and answers and do the recap from the prior office hours. Can you send the link for the FAQ to the NOFA questions? The link was obviously sent, and it was located under the Files tab of the main application for the 2024 NOFA. Will there be any other workshops scheduled? Usually there are a little more spread out. This time there were only 2 in the same week just after NOFA was released. This does not give enough time to strategize and have all of our questions ready. CDBG does not have any more NOFA webinars scheduled. However, you can review the required pre-recorded webinars on our YouTube channel with that link provided. Is the purchase of fire equipment, an engine, etc., considered a program or a project? This would be considered an OTC or over-the-counter project. Which matrix code should be used for planning and technical assistance, or PTA? And for planning grants, you would use the matrix code 20A. Working on a PI-only application, and it asks for a 21-22 single audit. Do you want the 21-22 or the 22-23? Also, can I use the new affidavit of publication from the 2024 NOFA for the PI-only application, or do I have to use the older one from that NOFA? So our response was, please upload the most recent single audit that your organization has available. HCD will review the PI application to ensure that the correct single audit report is reviewed. And as for the affidavit of publication, please use the new one that is posted. So the follow-up on the LMI SD maps, those are no other maps with the new mapping. HUD has released its new mapping tool for the new 2016 to 2020 census data. Our engineering specs, bid manuals, and environmental review record development for a future project eligible under PTA. And in general, those documents are typically considered eligible under a planning project. It depends on what type of project it is. We have asked questions in the email box and still haven't received a response. Is there a timeline in which you answer questions? So CDBG has been inundated with a large number of questions for this NOFA, and I've been working hard to ensure that we give you comprehensive and complete answers to your questions. We have shared an FAQ document where a tremendous number of questions have now been answered. And I promise we are working on getting this updated again. If the most recent single audit is from 21-22 and the agency is working on finalizing 22-23, will you accept the 21-22 single audit? Yes, we will accept the most recent 21-22 single audit report, but you will need documentation from the auditor stating that they have been engaged to work on the 22-23 single audit report. Once the 22-23 single audit report has been completed, you'll be required to upload it into eCivis. And I was going to say more of this information can be found in that single audit webinar. I did actually record that, so I know that information is in there. Where can we find the FAQs from the previous office hours? And those are in our office hours newsletter that is sent out usually on Friday. Who should letters of support for competitive applications be addressed to? You can address your letters of support to Susan Holt at HCD, CDBG Program 651 Bannon Street, Suite 400 in Sacramento, California. Confirming that you want all related federal laws and authority topic worksheets to accompany our NEPA. This is a new requirement. And yes, this is a new requirement that is required by our environmental team. If a jurisdiction is part of a cooperative agreement with their county for entitlement funds but did not receive CDBG funding for the 2024 funding year, can the jurisdiction apply for this NOFA? Or does the agreement have to be expiring? So basically, you cannot be in a cooperative agreement for entitlement funds and apply for state funds. The agreement would need to be expiring. Because there's been many changes to the LMI SD block groups and census tract areas, I'm assuming that if a city is now considered LMA in the local government summaries, then they are LMA. This is critical as some of the jurisdictions that didn't used to be LMA are now, and they are submitting applications based on LMA status. And the answer for this is if a city qualifies as LMA or 51% LMI according to the new 2016-2020 LMI SD map data, then they could qualify under that national objective. And to clarify, is the housing element required referring to the 6th cycle? So everyone is in a different cycle depending on when you first submitted and other factors. HCD will be checking at the time of application review whether you have your housing element draft at a minimum submitted. What is the cutoff date when HCD can advise on the content of applications? October 29th, 2024 at 9 a.m. PTD. eCivis keeps declining my upload. Just concerned if this happens when the OTC application opens. Also, are there characters that are not permitted when saving a document? So there are certain characters that are not allowed. And if you're having technical difficulties, it's really important that screenshots of what's occurring and immediately email our inbox at cdbg@hcd.ca.gov. That way we can document and take that into consideration when determining an accurate timestamp. If submitting applications for 2 planning grants, do we complete 2 sub-applications for the same matrix code? You would submit 2 sub-applications for 2 different planning grants. We have a developer with a 46-lot subdivision who can't get the project off the ground due to infrastructure expenses. Our sidewalk, city sewer, and water expenses eligible projects if the resulting homes will meet low to medium income thresholds. I encourage you to reach out to the CDBG inbox or your assigned rep if you have one. In some cases, it is eligible to fund infrastructure if it will lead to affordable housing. Would it be allowed if PI that is currently in home be moved to economic PI fund? How would we go about that? Do we need approval from CDBG? So generally, if it's home PI, it must be encumbered in the home contract. If it's CDBG program income, it must be encumbered into a CDBG contract. We can't mix and match. Can you confirm that the 50% spending rule does not apply to OTC applications? The 50% rule only applies to competitive applications, not OTC applications. Are you saying that we are going to be able to move money from one sub-application to another easily with the combination of OTC ED programs? So if awarded an OTC ED program grant and you do have multiple matrix codes in it, yes, you should be able to move money easily around between one ED subaward to another subaward without having to do an amendment. Can you give a couple examples of stellar ED planning grant awards over the past years? So typically HCD will see business assistance or microenterprise assistance programs that provide direct loans or grants to businesses for certain items such as operating costs or equipment. On the other side, we have seen projects that are aimed at economic development and job creation. Please reach out to your program representative to further discuss. Man, there's a lot of questions this week, guys. I don't remember the previous recording mentioning this regarding the sources and uses for just the activity. Do you want overall costs as lump sum or break it down line items? So yes, we want it broken down by line item and not a lump sum. We want to see that the entire activity has been planned, such as material costs, activity delivery costs, and all the different components to run a project or a program. It also lets us know if you have other funding sources that are associated with an activity. What are the permitting requirements for a public facilities project, such as a street road improvements? What do they expect to see to comply with the new permit rule? Do they want a letter from the city stating all permits will be obtained upon the award to the contractor? So HCD gives a good faith that you're getting your permits prepared properly. A letter from the city stating all permits will be attained upon award to the contractor would be fine and sufficient for our purposes. It's recommended that you adhere to the strictest requirements, which are generally the local permitting requirements. So one of our applications is going to be purchasing a fire truck. The supplier states that their price could increase a certain percentage each quarter. Can we build the potential increase in our application, and how would we include that on our sources and usage? HCD recommends that overestimation. For on-site control, property verification, and legal documentation, is it acceptable to use parcel quest for property information, or is a copy of the actual deed required? So HCD is looking to identify the ownership of the property. The parcel quest document would suffice. Okay, finally done with those. So we're going to go through the Q&A. So please submit your questions via the Zoom Q&A, and we will get working on trying to get some responses.
Okay, it looks like we have 13 questions that are in the Q&A. Did you want me to take this section, Shannon?
Sure, that would be great, Crystal.
Yeah, okay, great. So Lacey Peterson, can multiple city employees log into the eCivis portal at the same time and work on multiple applications, sub-applications concurrently? For instance, the city would likely submit one main application and up to 6 sub-applications. OTC Project 1, OTC Housing Combo Program 4, Planning 1. Can 6 employees log in and be working on all of these at the same time? Or will this cause issues with eCivis? If multiple users can log in concurrently, should they all make their own profiles with individual logins? Or do they share one login? And Jeannie will answer this question for you.
Hi, thank you for your question, Lacey. Let us get back to you at our next office hours. I think I have a way of getting us to be able to do that, but I need to test it out to make sure it's actually possible. So please keep posted. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeannie. Anonymous attendee, for OTC construction projects. My question jumped. Okay, for OTC construction projects, When completing the NEPA, is the applicant the responsible entity? The jurisdiction completing the project had been the responsible entity in the past, but there were exceptions in the CDBG DR program, and we were not sure if the same exception applied to 2024 CDBG projects. Raymond, you were going to take this?
Yes, thank you, Crystal. With CDBG and CDBG DR, the exceptions that they have for CDBG DR does not apply to the regular annual CDBG program. So the responsible entity would be the jurisdiction.
Thank you. Anonymous attendee. Hold on, sorry. Okay. And sample question, sub-application, activity-specific question. We don't understand what you're asking for. Jeannie? Sample?
Can you,
Yeah, I'll
sorry,
repeat it.
no, I got it. It
Okay,
takes me a little while to unmute myself, sorry.
Okay, no.
If I don't know exactly which question you're referring to, please copy and paste the question you're asking about there. Yeah, just unfortunately with the information construction projects #1, I'm not sure what the exact question is. Thank you.
We got to have another one for you. Anonymous attendee. Does the new financial reporting form need to be signed for a zero draw? Jeannie, you were going to cover this?
Yes, I will. Yes, any and all financial reports, whether it is zero draws or drawing down funds, must have that new financial reporting form signed by the authorized or financial representative. This is due to the new 2 CFR 200 updates that require all reports and applications have that certification on all the reports. I do realize that that financial reporting form has been sent out, and we have been getting grantees stating that they cannot access the form. We will get that corrected and sent out as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Roxanne Kunert, is there a new list of reps for areas? Susan Holt?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Roxanne. As many of you, I'm sure, have noticed, we have had some staffing changes. Our goal is to beef up staffing for the CDBG program. And in doing so, there wasn't really a way for us to make a balanced workload for everyone because we do have cluster areas with grantees. So we've kind of allocated out a little differently. So unfortunately, we do not have a list of reps for areas any longer. However, if you would reach out to the CDBG inbox, if you don't already have a representative assigned to your jurisdiction, or if you want to, request one, or if you have some questions on certain jurisdictions, we can certainly answer those for you and get someone assigned, which we try to do with a very quick turnaround so you can get the TA that you need. So I would recommend that you reach out to the CDBG inbox to find out who the representative might be or request to have a new one. So hopefully that's helpful. Thank you, Roxanne, for that question.
Thank you, Susan. Roxanne Kunert has another question. What is this newsletter that keeps being mentioned? The newsletter is an office hours newsletter that is published at the end of at the conclusion of the office hours, and then we will release it to our listserv. We'll release it to all the persons on our list, and it'll be the newsletter of what occurred, of what happened in this, what was presented to you. So it'll include the questions that were asked during the session. It'll include the what's new information, and it serves as a resource for you to get the information that you readily need. Okay, thank you, Roxanne. Deborah Schwartz. Who is required to sign the NEPA documents for a BA program, business assistance program? Is it the authorized signer, or can someone else sign this document? Jeannie, you got this?
Hi, Deborah. The authorized signer needs to sign all NEPA documents. Thank you.
Lacey Peterson. Sorry, I missed a few moments on the planning slide. With a planning project seeking 30% plans, which would enable us to apply for other grant funding for 100% plans and specs. which will cost much more than $300,000 in total, be eligible? Jeannie?
Hi, Lacey. Thanks for your question. I suggest emailing the CDBG inbox with additional details. This will be part of the feasibility assessment. We do need to make sure that you will be able to, for instance, if it's plans and specs, build whatever building it is or rehab whatever building it is, whatever it may be within our time frame. Thank you.
And just to add on that too, Lacey, please make sure that you include your assigned rep on that as well, just to help.
Okay, thank you, Shannon and Jeannie. Anonymous attendee, is CDBG planning any in-person training? For new users of this program, the videos are not helpful. The program really lacks help for people who are green and don't have a background in this program. Susan, you were going to cover this?
Sure. Thank you, anonymous attendee. Really appreciate this feedback. We would love to do some in-person trainings, and we're actually in talks for being able to hopefully provide some extra trainings next year in this way. But for now, we do not have any plans for in-person training. But what we do have is a beefed up CDBG team that can help you individually. So if you know who your CDBG program representative is for your jurisdiction, then you can certainly reach out to them. If you do not know, go ahead and send an email to the unit inbox and we'll get someone assigned for you. And our staff is very skilled in giving you some one-on-one technical support. They can have a Teams meeting with you, share screens, and kind of walk you through what's needed. That's the purpose of why we're here. We want to make sure that you have all of the information you need to have a successful application. So if you don't know who your rep is, again, please reach out to the unit inbox. We'll make sure you're connected with someone who can give you some one-on-one TA. So thank you for that question and the feedback. Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Just to add to that, yeah, we do have our CDBG grants management manual as well on our website, and that was actually written. We did try to write that from a new user perspective, so you can give that a look, and of course, let us know if you have any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Michael.
Yep.
Thank you, Susan and Michael.
I also wanted one last thing. Also check out HUD Exchange. That is a really great resource as well for the CDBG program. So I would really encourage you to review that too.
Great. Paul Ashby, is there a date that we can safely assume HCD will not update NOFA forms that we are using for the application? Susan?
Sure, I'll take that one. Thank you, Paul. Honestly, we don't like having to update them at the late stage either. However, sometimes it's necessary, especially with the new 2 CFR requirements. And we're just always trying to get more user-friendly and better documents out to you. So I don't have a date that we would cut off that, but I think Mamie might have something to contribute to this answer. So I'm going to pass it over to you.
Paul, I'm just assuming that you're speaking about the 2024 NOFA and any changes from now to October 29th. We don't see any changes. We are just rolling out what the changes are for the 2 CFR that's going to affect you with the financial reports. But I don't see anything regarding the NOFA from now the 29th. But as you may know, it gets trickled down to our program. So it may be something, with the director that we may not be aware of that may come at a later date. But we try to take our grantees in consideration of the effect that it will have on their application and see the best route to eliminate any issues. So that's always our priority, is to not disrupt you completing successful application.
Okay, thank you, Mamie and Susan. Lacey Peterson, for the resolution. In the resolution webinar, the example shown does include the mayor signing on behalf of the city council, as well as being designated in section 5. The mayor would typically be the one to sign on behalf of the city council, and the city clerk would be the one to sign the attestation. I wanted to make sure that there will not be a problem if we follow this procedure for the 2024 resolution. If there is an issue with the mayor signing on behalf of the city council while also being authorized in section 5, we will want to note in our accompanying staff report the need for the vice mayor to sign and the reason for this deviation from common practice. Lacey, I think that we will take what will, oh, sorry, Susan, go on ahead.
That's okay. It's a little comprehensive question. I hope I'm understanding. Thank you, Lacey, for your question. So we do have the requirement in the health and safety code that the mayor must sign contractual documents, and we've designed our resolution to separate out some of the things that the mayor must sign or others can sign. According to the health and safety code, the only way to have someone other than the mayor sign contractual documents is if the jurisdiction has an ordinance or municipal code that directs someone else besides the mayor to sign on behalf of the city. So if you have such an ordinance, then we do recommend that you send that to us so that we can have our legal department review it and make sure that it has legal sufficiency. But short of that, what's indicated on the resolution is how the contractually the mayor must sign any contractual documents. So I hope that muddled answer kind of helps. If you need further clarification, feel free to pop it back into the chat and we'll give you some more.
Thank you, Susan. Jennifer Warren, can we submit an OTC application on September 29th, then wait and submit the sub-applications? Or will that cause our OTC application to be pushed back to the back of the line? Jeannie?
Thank you for your question. So in order to submit a complete application, you will need to submit one main application and one sub-application. So when you submit a sub-application on 9/29, you will be submitting one main application and one sub-application for the OTC project or program. And if you would like to submit subsequent sub-applications, the timestamp will be with every subsequent or at every subsequent sub-application.
And just
Please
to,
let me know. Oh,
Right,
go,
to
Amy. Go
clarify
ahead.
that.
and just to clarify for Jennifer, the application open date is October 29th.
October 29th, correct.
Thank you.
Jennifer Warren, for public hearings, what constitutes a public hearing? I know we can at a board meeting or neutral locale. However, we live in a rural area to allow more constituents to attend and constituents that may have issues with traveling due to time, location, ADA issues, etc. Can we hold recorded webinars or can we utilize our city council meeting to allow for after hours meetings? Jeannie?
Thank you for your question. All of your questions are answered in our GMM Chapter 4 grantee requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Kristen Martinique, my financial reports are being rejected because they need to meet new thresholds. What are these new thresholds? Where can I find them? Shannon?
Hey, Kristen, I would like to actually have a separate conversation with you about these. I'm not sure if it's for annual program or maybe CV, because I know I would at least tell you why I was kicking something back. So if you can at least let us know if it's either CV or annual program, so we can better answer your question, that would be great.
And just to add to that, always, if you have questions regarding any financial report that are being sent back, always reach out to your representative. And she said it's CV. So,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I would say to reach out to your grant administrator, Kristen, to see what's going on, and if something's not, if you're not getting anything, just let me know, and I'll see what I can do to try to help.
Thank you, Shannon and Mamie. Anonymous attendee. For a housing assistance program, when the application asks for site control documentation, are you looking for site control documentation for the location the activity will be administered from City Hall? If not, please explain what it is you are looking for in this item on a financial assistance program.
I can take this question. Thank you for your question. If you look under site control, I believe there's an option that says not applicable, as this is a planning, this application is for planning or programs or something to that effect. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Anonymous attendee, what is the CDBG CV23 amendments timeline for HCD to process them? Michael?
Yeah, hi, thanks for the question. So at minimum, we have to allow for about pending no issues no during review. It goes through a lot of our divisions internally, legal, accounting, contracts, and whatnot. So yeah, minimum 6 weeks, but like I said, for the CV amendments, for the additional funds and time extension only, the majority of those should be coming out to you within the next 2 weeks or so.
Great. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Anonymous. Another anonymous attendee, excuse me, question. Provide a narrative on how this program will be marketed programs only. Upload any flyers or documentation, but this is listed under construction and it is the only question listed under this section. Please open your sub-application questions 2024 sub-application sample questions to read this question. Jeannie?
That was put under the wrong heading. That will be a programs only question. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Brandy Caporaso. In the sub-application under activity design that requests the address for ED and housing rehab programs, is that the jurisdiction headquarters, as there will be various locations that are assisted? Jeannie?
For ED and housing rehab programs for activity location, please put the address of where the program will be administered from. Thank you.
Is there a specific reason for HCD wanting a zero draw request? It comes from Paul Ashby. Jeannie?
Hi, Paul. Yes, we are requiring that the form is needed when it's zero draw, as the certification language that is required under the updated 2 CFR is now on that form. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie.
Just want to add to Paul's question. Even if the financial report is a zero request, we are still looking at the narratives on expectations on when we can expect a draw off of the grant. So that helps us be able to report up to the director on expenditures and expectations of funding being spent.
Thank you, Mamie. Brandy Caporaso, have there been any updates to NOFA forms in the last 2 weeks? Mamie, you're going to answer that?
Yes, no, it has not.
Thank you. Anonymous attendee, since a financial report form is required for each quarterly report, should invoice expenditures be included even if they haven't been paid during that quarter? Jeannie would like to answer this.
Hey, thank you for your question. So CDBG is a reimbursement-based program. As such, any reimbursement requests should, any reimbursement request should only include expenditures that have been reimbursed by the jurisdiction. So we do ask that you guys upload documentation to show that the jurisdiction has paid these invoices, such as a copy of the check or your general ledger. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Paul Ashby wants to know regarding Kristen's question. We have seen the same thing on our CV awards. Thank you for that feedback. I can't quite, Kristen, my financial reports are being rejected. Okay. So he's referring to that, and seems like, I guess it is a CV issue that you'll need to reach out to your representative to address. Thank you. Did you want to add something, Shannon?
Nope, that was exactly what I was going to say. Just reach out to your grant administrator, and I would think that if you're not getting anything else, I would reach out to Mike. Mike Phillips.
Okay. Anonymous attendee. If a one-day report is required, is it based on check issue date or invoice date or expenses reported to eCivis date? Jeannie?
Thank you for your question. If a one-day report is required, please go by the check issue date. Thank you.
Brandy Caporoso. So for ED and HR programs, if a subrecipient is implementing the program, should it be the subrecipient's address? She didn't want to answer this question.
Thanks, Brandy. Yes, it should be the subrecipient's address. Thank you.
Okay, it looks like all of the questions have been posed and answered. I don't have anything in the queue. I'll wait another moment or so before we exit. Just want to remind you all there's a lot of valuable information that links that have been dropped in the chat for you to have at your fingertips. And we'll wait and see if any additional questions come in. Thanks.
There is one that just came in from Brandy. I've missed the reimbursement question. Has HCD reimbursement changed from invoice to payment? And I believe if I heard Jeannie correctly, it was based off you have to submit the reimbursement based on when it's paid in that quarterly reporting period. Correct me if I'm wrong, if I heard that right.
No, you got that right, Shannon.
That is
We're
correct.
going, yeah, it's a reimbursement program. So we are going by the reimbursement date on the payment that's been issued. And one of the reasons for that is we don't want anything to, if you submit the invoices, and of course we wouldn't be paying them out at the time and then possibly forget to submit the proof of payment so that we can pay out, and it can just cause some confusion. So best practice and the way our policies run, we would like to have reimbursements submitted at the time of payment after you have paid out to your contractors or whomever you're paying out. Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to add to that, it eliminates any duplicate payments being met. Sometimes during closeout, when we're trying to reconcile financial reports, we've seen that there have been submissions of duplication of invoices and reimbursements, and it just causes a lot of time and error on both parts, on the grantee level as well as CDBG, to try to figure out what was a duplicate payment with that. So just to kind of eliminate that confusion, like Susan stated, is that we're going to go off of the reimbursement date within that quarter.
And just to kind of add into about the questions that were coming in about CV, Carola Sanchez did put some information in the chat, but she also did type it in the Q&A for us to probably announce for grantees, is that for CV and based on HCD's directive, all threshold items must be met before financial reports can be accepted and processed for payment. Threshold items like updated departments, single audit, a correct NEPA, and more, that could be part of why some of those financial reports are being sent back. And we do the same thing on the annual program side too. So just keep that in mind.
Thank you, Corolla. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Corolla.
Okay, follow-up, anonymous attendee, follow-up. On quarterly reports, invoices that have not been paid do not need to be included on quarterly reports.
I
Jeannie.
can take this, Crystal. Thank you. Correct. So the only invoices that should be on your quarterly report are invoices that have been paid, not invoices that have not been paid. Thank you.
Anonymous attendee. It gets confusing for us as well, because when the encumbrance occurs, it is considered expended based on HUD. Just a note. Thank you very much, anonymous attendee. Anonymous attendee, just to confirm, if we have invoices that have not been paid, we should not include them in the financial report. Correct. Susan?
Oh yeah, no, I was just going to reiterate. Yes, that is correct. We don't want those to be submitted until the reimbursement has been made. If by some chance you need to report them or your internal processes require that in some way, we could have some clarification in the narrative that will be forthcoming, but it's just extra work for everyone. So we would really prefer that you lump the invoices with the payments into the financial report at the time that you've made the payment for reimbursement. That would be a best practice.
Thank you very much.
And just to add to that with Susan, we encourage you to use the narrative field to let us know if there's anything one-off with the financial report. Just for an example, if there is a financial report invoice that's dated 3/30, and you need and your reimbursement was in June, you can go ahead and let us know that. Hey, I provided the invoice for 3/31, but we didn't pay out until June, and it's within the quarter that I'm reporting in. So we do encourage a good narrative to explain any one-offs or anything that you think that we should know to be able to help us process the financial report faster for you and kind of help eliminate the kickback of the financial report.
Thank you very much.
And I would add too, I can see in the chat some things about the not having good clarification when one of those are bounced back to you for corrections, and we will make note internal and appreciate the feedback. So we
Yes.
will try
Thank
to
you.
be more clear.
Thank you very much. Brandy Caporoso, this is going to be a huge issue for a very small jurisdiction that has large construction projects. They cannot cover multiple $100,000 or $1 million pay requests from contractors. Jeannie?
Hi, Brandy. Thank you for your question. If we do run into issues where jurisdictions cannot pay the large invoices, we do have multiple solutions, including having reporting on a monthly basis. The quarterly is a bare minimum. Jurisdictions are allowed to and encouraged to report more frequently and to draw down more frequently. If you are running into this issue, please reach out to your CDBG rep or specialist, and we will work with you on coming up with a solution. Mamie, did you have something to add to that?
No, you kind of hit everything regarding that. You would just need to reach out to us and have that conversation, see what options, if any, is available. And as you know, over the years, and as everyone should know, that we do not, CDBG does not do advances, and that has not been approved or even, it has been a discussion, but it's been denied and approved, hasn't been approved for us to offer advances on funds requests. So it's going to continue to be reimbursement.
Thank you, Mamie and Jeannie. Susan, did you want to add to that?
Oh, no, I'm waiting for the next question. Sorry.
Okay. I also believe per 2 CFR 200 advances are allowed.
Right. So I just want to clarify the 2 CFR 200, those codes apply to all federal grant funding, federal funds that are administered out from the federal government. So not all programs do allow advances. Some do, some don't. And CDBG is a reimbursement program. So even though 2 CFR does show that advances are allowed, that is program to program specific. And CDBG itself is a reimbursement program. So just want to clarify that for you, Brandy. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. Brandy also would like to know, many invoices may not be paid during the same month they are incurred. Shannon?
Yeah. Hi, Brandy. Yeah, we totally understand that. And that's kind of like what it's already kind of been stated about this, if you guys are having issues with cash flow and things like that. Because again, we know, being in a rural area, it can be kind of difficult. So, I mean, you can always bump up to monthly reporting. And Mamie, I know you have something else I think you want to add.
No, I just wanted to illustrate what Jeannie stated, that the quarterly reporting is the minimum requirement that we are asking our grantees. So with that said, you are able and have the capabilities via eCivis to go ahead and report monthly if you are getting those invoices paid. So just to kind of put it out there that the quarterly reporting is the minimum requirement. But we do encourage, if you want to do monthly, we encourage it. HUD does look at our reimbursements, our expenditures, what we have expended. So we do encourage you guys to go ahead and spend down the grant as soon as possible. So, but just the requirement is quarterly.
Thank you, Mamie and Shannon. William Firth, to confirm, can applications for the 2024 NOFA be submitted at different times? For example, could one OTC with one main and one sub-application, could it be submitted in November, then one sub-application for a competitive grant be separately submitted in December? Thank you. Jeannie?
Yes, William, you have it correct. So you are able to submit 2 applications at different times with different timestamps, exactly as you wrote. Thank you.
Thank you. Anonymous attendee, does CDBG allow projects to be considered reno and not new build if the developer leaves a portion of the old units in place like USDA allows? Mamie?
Yes, I will encourage the anonymous attendee to go ahead and, since this is so specific, I would ask you to send that question to our CDBG box so we can, give you a better TA on it. At this moment, I wouldn't be able to give you the answer.
Brandy Caporoso, what would HCD like for staff salary proof of payment?
Brandy,
Oh, maybe unless you want to take
no,
it, I can
no,
also
go ahead,
take it.
Jeannie. No, go ahead, Jeannie.
For proof of payment, I mean, most often we see a GL ledger, or sorry, general ledger. That's typically the easiest. Pay stubs work too. If you have any other forms that you guys want to submit, please just ask us and we'll take a look at it and let you know if it'll suffice. Thank you.
And just to piggyback off of that, I would encourage any of the grantees that may have specific questions on what will work and what wouldn't work. Please reach out to your grant administrator to be able to help you navigate through some of the questions that you have regarding your grant specifically.
Thank you, Mamie.
And just to plug a little bit, our reps and our specialists do hold bi-monthly, every 2-week meetings with the grantees. So we do highly encourage for the grantees to show up to these meetings, to be able to use that time, to be able to help navigate through your active grants or any potential grants that you may be interested in applying for in the future. So we do encourage, we know a lot of our grantees do have consultants that they work with, but it's very critical for the grantees to also be present on these calls, these technical assistant calls with our reps and our specialists.
Thank you, Mamie. Brandy, so you don't need checks. GL is a proof of payment of invoices as well.
Hey, Brandy. Yes, GL, assuming it has all the right information on it, is acceptable proof of payment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. So we don't have any more questions in the Q&A. It's 10:56, and I think this is an excellent time where we will end this office hours. Thank you very much for your participation. We really appreciate the feedback, and you guys have a great rest of your week. And the newsletter for this session will be sent out by Friday afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for all the questions.